In this n8n tutorial, I show how you can switch between over 500 different AI models in your automation with just a single click. For example, you might start building your automation with Google Gemini, but later you want to switch to some ChatGPT model or Claude Sonnet, or maybe even some new Chinese provider. And you can do all of that without managing 20 different accounts and 20 different API keys. Instead, you can use a single service called Openrouter, which basically combines all available AI models in a single API. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you can set up Openrouter for n8n. I'm going to show you how you can access all of their 500 different models. And I'm also going to show you how you can use some of their models completely for free. Okay, so if you want to start to use Openrouter in n8n, all you have to do is inside of the Nodes panel, you search for Openrouter, and then this Openrouter chat model will show up. And right now, Openrouter is only available as a chat model node. But this is not an issue, because if you use an AI agent, you can just connect it to the chat model output. But if you don't want to use an AI agent and instead a normal text prompt, you can just use this basic LLM chain node, which you can also find in the Nodes panel. And there you just connect the chat model node as well. And inside of it, you then have your typical AI text prompt with a system prompt and a user prompt. Okay, let's take a closer look at the Openrouter node itself. I've already connected this, and I'm going to show you how you can set up your own connection in a few moments. But once you've done that, you can see there's this list with all available AI models. And for example, I could use Grok 4 from XAI, or I could use Claude Sonnet or Google Gemini. For example, OpenAI has just released their first open source model a few hours ago, and now it is already available here in this list. So basically here you will find almost any available AI model, and you can switch to it with a single click. Okay, to create your own connection to Openrouter, you just click here on Create New Credential, and then it asks you for an API key. And you get that API key from the website openrouter.ai. Here you quickly create an account, so you click on Sign Up and then create an account. Once you've done that, up here at the top right, you can click on Credits. And there is a way how to use Openrouter for free, and I'm going to show you this way in a few moments. But first of all, I would like to explain to you the business model behind Openrouter. So you have the ability to purchase credits, and then if we look at the models, for example, Gemini 2.5 Pro, if we look at the model pricing here from Openrouter, this pricing that they charge you for using the model is exactly the same as if you were to use the model directly from Google. So they don't charge you any additional fees here. But the way they make money is essentially whenever you top up new credits, then they will charge you a 5.5% service fee on top of that. Once you've done that, there is a keys section here in the menu. And here you can create a new API key, give it a name. And you can also set a spending limit if you want, and then click on Create. Back in n8n, I just copy this and then click on Save. And now it says connection tested successfully. And the reason why this has been so amazing for me is that it has made experimenting with the models much better. And this means it has improved my AI automations and made them more efficient. Because now that it is so easy to switch between the different models, I can try out lots of different ones. And then I can find the best one for each individual automation or even for each individual task. And this is only possible because it's so easy to experiment and switch between the different models. Also, this really makes the administration of your AI models much simpler, because now you only get charged through a single service and only get invoices from a single service instead of 10 different services if you were to use 10 different models from 10 different companies. Now, before I will talk about the best way how you can use Openrouter's free models, I want to talk about some other advantages that Openrouter has that may not be immediately obvious. The first one for me has been inside of the menu. Here's this Activities tab. And inside of here, you have an overview of all of your different AI executions in this table. And you will always see for each individual prompt, which model did you use, how many tokens did it use, and most important, how much did this individual AI execution cost. And this gave me a much better idea to estimate how much I'm paying for my AI automations. So really, really useful. The next huge advantage is the spending limit. So at the moment, my favorite model is Google Gemini 2.5. So all of the Gemini models, I really like them. But the problem is, if I were to use them directly through Google, there's no way to set up a spending limit. So if I make a mistake while building my automation and suddenly my automation gets executed 10,000 times and calls the Google AI 10,000 times, Google will charge me for every single one of those 10,000 prompts. And Openrouter will also charge you for each of these prompts. However, once you run out of credits, you're done. So basically, if I run out of these $7.81 of credits, then the AI execution is just going to stop, which is really useful because then I no longer have to worry about a surprise spending bill. And honestly, this has also massively improved my AI automations because I have much more freedom to experiment. I can try things out, I can try out new ideas, and I don't have to worry about making a mistake all the time and then suddenly have to pay a huge bill to some cloud AI provider. There's an additional layer where you can set up the spending limit, and that is when you create an API key. You can also create a spending limit here, and once this spending limit is reached, the API key will be deactivated. And then you could set up notifications or something like that, and then just switch out the API key with a new one with a fresh limit, for example. Also, what a lot of people are not aware of, all these AI providers, they can sometimes have technical issues. That is normal and that happens every now and then. But this means when you use the AI directly from the company, then what will happen if they have some technical issues, your AI automations will not work. However, what Openrouter does is for each model, if there are multiple providers, as soon as one of the providers where the model is hosted has some technical issues, they will just switch it out for a different one that currently has no technical issues. And this means your AI automations will continue to run and are more reliable, and you will not even notice that there was a problem in the background, which is also quite useful. Now, if you want to use the free models that Openrouter provides, what you can do is just click on models here, and then you can just search for free. And then it will show you all of the free models that are currently available. Some quite prominent ones like DeepSeek, or this is a new Chinese model here, or some smaller Google models, and you can use most of them completely for free, which is also really, really useful. If we look at the documentation for the free usage, we can see there is a free usage limit though. So that means if you are running a free usage model, then you can make up to 20 requests per minute, and you can make 50 free model requests per day. However, it says if you purchased at least 10 credits, your daily limit is increased to 1,000 free 1,000 free requests per day. This means once you top up your account a single time with $10, this will immediately increase your free model limit to 1,000 requests per day, which is really, really cool. I don't know how long this will be available, if they're planning to do this as a long-term thing or what the strategy behind it is, but at the moment it is available, and I think that is quite useful. Now, you might ask yourself, okay, all of this sounds really, really good, but are there any limitations or are there any problems when using Openrouter? And the answer is mostly not, but there's one big problem. However, this problem has not much to do with Openrouter itself, but more with n8n's current integration of Openrouter. If we take a look at this chat model node of Openrouter, you can see down here we have some options that we can use. And basically these are parameters that we can use to configure the model's behavior. Right now there are a few of them available, but not all of them. Some important ones are missing that Openrouter offers as a feature, as a functionality, but n8n hasn't just not implemented it yet. For example, one really important one is the reasoning tokens parameter, so that you can configure reasoning models. And this is quite annoying that this is not available because, for example, some models like Claude Sonnet, they are really good at reasoning, but by default the reasoning is turned off. Meaning if you use it here, then you cannot use the reasoning of Claude Sonnet through Openrouter at the moment. I assume as Openrouter gets more popular, eventually n8n will add this, but right now it is not available. There are, however, ways around this. For example, you could use a model that reasons by default. For example, Gemini 2.5 Pro has reasoning turned on by default, so this will always do some reasoning, or the OpenAI reasoning models, they have reasoning turned on by default as well. And obviously, like always in n8n, you can overcome any limitations by using the HTTP request node. So you can just make a direct HTTP request to Openrouter itself. And this way you can use all the parameters without any limitations. All right, a few minutes ago I mentioned that Google Gemini are my favorite AI models to use at the moment. And if you are interested in a more detailed video about using the Google Gemini models in n8n, then feel free to check out this video that I will show on the screen right now. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Mike. Have a great day. Bye.